Okay, we're going to do the round table. I prefer to stand up, and I'm going to try that all of you help me asking them questions, okay? There's going to be 5 main questions. First of all, what is sport tourism? What do we define as a sport event? And then we'll talk about in-house events, like for example here in the Rafa Nadal Sports Center, how we finance them, and how and what do we do achieve with sponsoring. If anyone has problems in speaking in English, we'll jump from English to Spanish, okay? Does everyone in the room understand English? Someone that doesn't? Perfect. Then it's only you, Fernando, but I'll translate for you. Okay, first of all, Stefano has got a very good presentation about what is sport tourism. So, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. It's really a pleasure. So I made this presentation in a few minutes because so I work in trade show in sport tourism in the tourism sector for many years, and I noticed that when I go to the trade show and I talk with a lot of people, sound like Convention Bureau or DMC, and I ask, do you make sport tourism? And they told me, no. No, you do that? Yes. You do that? Yes. You do that? Yes. It's sport tourism. And I noticed that a lot of people that work in that sector don't know what is really sport tourism. So when I do this presentation, it's really clear because it's all pictures, so everyone can understand. To explain which is the main things of the sports sector. We starting from the holidays. We can ski 1 week. We can sailing. We can play golf for holiday, and this is one of the field for the sport tourism. Also, people traveling for see a football match or make trekking. It's also considered for sport tourism. Also summer camp for every kind of activity, football, volleyball, tennis, golf, every kind. Another things that I consider sport tourism, sport hospitality for the big events like Formula One, MotoGP, football, soccer or NFL football. So people can eat, can see the game. Can make dinner inside the museum that over I think it was in Ferrari. This is a Ferrari museum, and you can organize dinner, lunch, everything you want inside. And another sector is the sports city and location. So you can see, for example, in Copenhagen, a lot of sport events. Seasfield, the Olympia region, Alta Valtellina bike marathon, or better, Sofia for the next year is Sofia European Capital of Sport, London with all the facilities during the Olympic Games. Or another sector is the Pro-Am sport events. So New York Marathon, Redonda Hero, or triathlon, or also street games in Italy, and ski as well. Another possibility is accessible tourism. It's also a link for the sport because people can use sport for integrated to the society and use a lot of sports and also the tourism as well. So they need go to the beach as well. They can ski. They can sailing as well. Another part is venues and facility. So like this one, like the center like that, or Yas Marina, for example, on Città di Riccione, or the soccer camp in USA, you can use for sport tourism, for training, for play tournament, for everything. Another part is museum experience, and you have approved yesterday in this center. And also you can do with go-kart, and also the museum inside for football, outdoor as well, and Manchester. So it's a kind of example. You can change the tire in every circuit, more or less. You can do for the team building as well. And also now we are growing up exhibition events like this one, and but also in Turkey, in USA, in Jamaica as well, and and the last two slide. One is sport tourism is also world events. The big events move a lot of people and a lot of money for Formula One, football, Continental Cup, every sport, and every country organize every year international sport events, national or international. And then the last one is the peak of the iceberg is the Olympic City. How many cities organize Olympic Games? And this is the top of the sport, the sport tourism. So I would like, I have to say thank you also to the time, and this is a little bit part to start a discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that was necessary because most of us only think about sport events. Now we come to the sport events, and we've got 5 people here that know very well how to finance and how to sponsor sport events. So I'm going to start with my friend Damon. He's falling asleep, and he's starting to talk. So, and we've been teaching together at the university, so he knows better than anyone. How do we finance a sport event, Damon? Don't fight with it.
I used to be a singer, and I used to use microphones. How do we finance a sports event? Are we talking professional or amateur here? Because it's different. Professional. Okay. My first target when I need to find resources to sponsor an event, and always speaking of reaching our break-even as soon as possible, I quantify media impacts and all the publicity impacts that the possible sponsor can receive. I try and calculate the impacts he's going to receive. What I do is I divide the money that I'm going to request of him, off the sponsor of the company, and divide it by the impacts that I think he's going to receive. The customer, when he sees the price per impact, it changes, it's a different ballgame. It's not the same if you go to a sponsor and you say to him, well, listen, give me 100,000 euros, I'm going to just sponsor your team's shirt. Well, 100,000 euros is a lot of money. But when you nail it down to newspaper impacts, radio impacts, if it's a professional football team, you have the lead time, TV, billboarding at the venue, internet, all the different apps, etc., etc., etc. It comes down that the 100,000 euros is very cheap. You should have asked for more money. So basically, that's the first task I do before I go in search of revenue. I try to work out what's the impacts for the price of impact for the possible sponsor.
I think Stefan wants to say something, right?
Yeah, I have to say right to these phrases because maybe take a look to what happened with Neymar a couple of weeks or months now ago. I think 220 millions. Okay, is it a high price? Is it a low price? What is the impact exactly? And the media effect, maybe 3 or 4 days later, was maybe a calculation from a university in Frankfurt, 60 millions. 4 days later. So the impact is massive. Okay, and maybe this is also the same for sponsoring. We had a good example today. Don't see the person who gave the example about the bicycle by the driver, which was very well known in the past. And okay, they bought them. They gave him a lot of money, but also the impact was a great one. And sport tourism, the origin is all human beings now are more sensitive for healthy, for the whole body, and yeah, there's also changing in the whole characterism of each person, and so the tourism for sports and everything like that will have also an increase in the future.
There's also what we call in-house sport events. I want Javier to talk a bit about it. It's not only that he's sales director here, he's been in a very famous football club in Spain, or was Spain, maybe. And how do you see sponsoring from an in-house point of view? When you do the events inside a stadium, inside a sports center, inside a sport facility, Javier?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this round table. Answering the question, well, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's difficult. What I'm saying that is easy because if you are in a big brand such as the club I work several years, so when you have a good brand, it's easier to attract events and it's easier to attract as an interesting place, easy to attract people, events, companies, and so on. The disadvantage is sometimes, for instance, if I have, to give an example, Audi as a sponsor to organize the presentation of the new car of BMW, it's difficult, I would say, almost impossible. So answering your question is easy and difficult, so always you have to manage. But working in a big club or in a big facility like this, of course, the brand that you have, it helps to bring events to the facility, okay? Also, we can organize, what I mentioned just now is events organized through third parties, but events organized in-house, just answering concrete the question, of course, you know, is a way to activate the sponsors that we have here. I'm not the right person in a sponsorship in this center. He's the manager of Rafael, so I don't deal anything with that. But we need to consider when we have an event here, especially now in the next weeks, we are going to have several events organized by the sponsors. So it's a great way to activate the sponsorship. You know, it's not like to putting the brand. Always, I'm hearing this sentence to say putting a brand, a logo in a fence. No, it's more activate. You know, really, with the association of with a brand or with a property, better to say, how to engage our fans through this. So I think it's important. But well, I don't want to talk because I think there are more people. Thank you.
Has someone got a question so far? You have.
He made me think of a question. So, but I do have one. So I'm thinking about the Olympics. So if I want to create an event for my clients to go to the Olympics with you, how can we do that? How do we have access to go to the tennis courts first and then have opportunities to visit other sports as well? How does it work?
You must do more things because you know your Olympics it's really the top.
We will go to many events, but
Yep.
having tennis like the priority and then entering others. How does it work?
I think you also need to make a lot of relationships first of all because to spend your name and to promote your brand, you need first of all to have more connection, and this is I think the first steps you must do, and then okay with you can organize a big group, a big committee, and someone endorse you, and this is the second steps because you need guarantee, especially for if you work in a top level. Because I know maybe you are the best, but nobody knows who are you. So you need also endorsement for the federations, for the state, for the government to take more how do you say in English? More competition. And I know it's a good word, but you need first of all relationship and endorsement.
So as a company, I have to go with all the locals that
And then,
As far as I know, as the Olympics, there is a program called TOP, with the top brands, you know, and this is one thing. This is they are big brands, and they have a relationship with the IOC. And then there are the local brands that, for instance, like the next Olympics, they have a relationship with the organizing committee. But normally the top brands, they have exclusivity. Well, I guess so. And then the local brands, then you can have the different categories. It depends on the assets or the rights that you have. The other thing is, like, as far as I know, the Olympics, you can the assets, you cannot put branding on the courts. So you have a specific. There are several issues regarding the how to promote the Olympic Games. There is one, it's TOP through the IOC, and I think the other ones with the local organizing committee. But of course, all needs to be. I mean, in order to avoid conflicts of branding, you know, I don't know. Exclusivity and so on. Okay, so that's the. But yes, you can do it. I'm sure through an agency that specializes on this that can help you. It depends on you, on your objective. If you want to sponsor, what are your objectives? Just make sure that you know.
No, I think it's more like bringing the people, being part of the event. And
Then you need to speak. Yeah, probably it's. Yeah. I don't know exactly as a hospitality, the agreements that you have normally through federations, perhaps. They are also, but I'm not familiar with. I was involved in 2 Olympics, but long time ago, but in the organization part of it, you know. So, but as far as I know, it's like this, yeah. But I'm sure the hospitality, I don't know what's the distribution channel directly, or the local organizers, they have agreements with agencies that I'm sure that they have, okay?
Fernando, how do we remember our sponsors?
Bueno, buenas tardes. Perdonad que os hable en español, pero mi nivel de inglés no da para hablar con vosotros, que tenéis bastante más que yo. Pero sí que es verdad que llevo escuchando toda esta conversación, que entiendo prácticamente todo a nivel del de sponsor. No creo únicamente en la financiación del deporte, tanto el profesional como el amateur, exclusivamente de los sponsors. Antes está hablando Xavi de los derechos audiovisuales. Creo que ahora mismo cubren bastante más, y sobre todo en el mundo del fútbol, por lo que es la financiación de cualquier tipo de club o de evento dentro del mundo del deporte. Pero sí que es verdad que dentro del mundo de la sponsorización, en la que llevo dedicándome bastantes años, pues hemos visto ejemplos de todo tipo. Y yo creo que es importante que la gente sepa que no todo en esta vida a nivel de sponsor va, que consiste en poner un dinero a la hora de sponsorizar pues clubes grandes como en los Estados Xavi o pequeños eventos, sino en la forma que tienen que hacer esa activación. Esa activación es muy importante. Se habla siempre teóricamente, aunque soy muy poco el de teoría en esto, de que por cada euro que cada sponsor paga al club o el evento aquí para sponsorizar, un mínimo de 2 euros extras tiene que estar en activación. Pero hay otras muchas formas más de hacerlo sin tener que acudir al dinero para que ese sponsor al final saque rendimiento. También se ha estado hablando antes del tema de los análisis de retorno. Yo soy un poco incrédulo en eso, entre otras cosas porque he trabajado en varios eventos en los que los análisis los hacíamos internamente. Esto es, contratábamos a una agencia para que nos hiciéramos el análisis, entonces pues nos hacían el análisis a medida. Un ejemplo claro que ya conoce Juanra es el del Madrid Open, el torneo de la caja mágica, como se llama de muchas formas, el Mutua Madrid Open, el Master 1000 de Madrid. Hay muchas formas, pero vamos, el de la caja mágica, que es popularmente aquí conocido. Ahí hay una empresa que tiene un ejemplo que yo siempre pongo, ya no solo en los eventos en los que participo, sino en clases que doy para chavales que están introduciéndose en el mundo del deporte, que pongo siempre que suele salir casi siempre de la misma forma, que voy y que les pregunto aquí a la gente, y os lo pregunto a vosotros, o sea, estar atentos. ¿Os acordáis el Madrid Open, el de tenis, el Mutua, el que se celebra en la Caja Mágica, el patrocinador de las recoge pelotas, las conocidas que eran, bueno, ahora son ellas y ellos, porque son el modelo, si tanto femenino como el masculino? ¿Alguien me sabe decir el patrocinador que tienen? ¿Alguien más?
Fernando's asking, do you remember who were the official sponsors for the Madrid Tennis Open? Who was the official sponsor? How many years was it, Fernando?
Ball Boys, sí. Ball Boys.
And there's a very clear example of, he has to finish his example, but the sponsor was Hugo Boss.
Exactamente.
And
Pues,
all the...
Iván es el único que ha contestado Hugo Boss, tienes toda la razón aquí del mundo, salvo que hace 8 años que Hugo Boss no es patrocinador de la
Eight years since Hugo Boss has not sponsored the Madrid Open.
Entonces, detrás de Hugo Boss ha habido empresas como Erke, como Mango, como Inditex, como Massimo Dutti, perdón. Joder, os diría hasta más, el Corte Inglés ha estado ahí. O sea, ha habido como 4 o 5 marcas posterior a Hugo Boss que han sido patrocinadores de la cogepelotas. Ese es el ejemplo más claro de cómo se asocia una marca a un patrocinio, cómo asociar ya no al deporte en sí, que por supuesto, ya no a los valores en sí, que por supuesto también, sino a un patrocinio en concreto. Todavía la gente sigue recordando cómo Hugo Boss es el patrocinador de una idea original. El coste, yo no digo que sea cero, evidentemente había que contratar a modelos, había que hacer una campaña de comunicación positiva, que tuvo su parte negativa, pero como al final una marca, después de muchos años, que no deben ni quedar gente que trabajaba en Hugo Boss en esa época, todavía se sigue asociando al deporte. Y cómo vais, se sigue asociando unos valores que son pues, las chicas guapas en ese momento, porque el torneo era masculino, ahora son chicas y chicos guapos, siguen estando ahí. Como ese os puedo decir más. Yo también he trabajado en un club de baloncesto, el Estudiantes, que ya no es un ejemplo tan claro como es Hugo Boss con la recoge pelotas, pero hay mucha gente que todavía sigue pensando que es Adecco Estudiantes, o suena Adecco Estudiantes. Adecco también hace, pues yo creo que hasta más años no está con el Estudiantes. Ahora es el Movistar que patrocina vuestras instalaciones, ¿no? Pero es ese patrocinio que trabajándolo bien, que trabajándolo con sentido, que dándole una comunicación positiva que se quede a lo largo del tiempo. Yo creo que tiene mucho más valor eso dentro de lo que es el mundo del patrocinio, del deporte y del evento. Hay muchas marcas que lo trabajan bien, ¿eh? Yo, evidentemente, ahora mismo que me pongo a pensar como Red Bull, ahí sí ha sido más a base del poner el dinero, ¿eh? Pero cómo se ha asociado a deportes de riesgo, cómo ha ido el trabajando ese mercado y ahora mismo no hay una marca que... O como el mismo Telefónica o Movistar. Mira, hacíamos... esto también es un caso, como Telefónica o Coca-Cola nunca han patrocinado al Madrid Open. Hacíamos un estudio al acabar el torneo de las marcas que patrocinaban. Siempre salían Mutua Madrileña como principal patrocinador, Hugo Boss, estuviera o no, evidentemente. Pero después, en todos los estudios que haces de retorno de cualquier patrocinio, si son encuestas, van y te sale que Telefónica y Coca-Cola patrocina, aunque no lo haya hecho nunca. ¿Pero por qué? Porque son empresas que están tan asociadas al deporte que piensan que están en todos los lados. Con esto no vengo a dar lecciones de nada, sino cómo a la hora de financiar estos eventos, este tipo de marcas que patrocinan estos eventos pueden asociarse de una forma positiva, no es solo dar el dinero, sino es trabajar el patrocinio. Hay una parte económica, evidentemente toda la comunicación que tú puedes hacer, después hay que comprarla, pero después hay una parte de originalidad, de hacer cosas distintas, de hacer cosas innovadoras que al final pueden servir tanto como el dinero.
Tenías que añadir algo, ¿no?
I have one brain cell And it's not capable of remembering all that. You've got to be kidding me.
Would you please switch it on?
I don't get that much money off you. I'll try and resume it very briefly. Fernando was talking about, correct me, brand association. How the brand, the example was Hugo Boss that was sponsoring the tennis Open of Madrid. It was a novelty in them days because they used top models to be ball collectors around the court. Obviously, the feminist wasn't too happy with it, but from that event, every time somebody would request who sponsored the Madrid Open, everybody will remember Hugo Boss. And we're talking about, obviously, in our terms, residual impacts, but they're still worth impacts and they're still worth money. After 8 years, everybody still thinks that Hugo Boss is still sponsoring the Madrid Open, and we've had how many sponsors after that nobody remembers that they sponsored this event. Also, Fernando, I've just made a note here, doesn't believe too much on the ROI, the return on investment, that if you invest €1, you're going to receive a return of €2. This is a little bit X-file, it's not completely true. And the final is, what else did you say to us? You didn't believe in full finance of sponsorship. What was you trying to say there, that you didn't believe in full finance with the sponsor? ¿Por qué decías que no querías tanto en el financiamiento total?
Porque creo que hay otras formas de financiación que no tienen que ir exclusivamente.
Correspondence. Yeah, he believes there's other forms of finance that shouldn't be through sponsorship. Obviously, we're talking probably box office and things like that. Yeah, TV rights and audiovisual rights and so on. Merchandising. Yeah.
Has anyone got a further question? Someone? No? Peter, come on.
It was my turn. I just wanted to know, as we're standing now in Mallorca, I wanted to know what you think Mallorca as a destination for organizing sport events, and probably also to know what we have logistics impacts, most likely that we have to come by plane or boat. I'd like to know how you see that impact on organizing sport events in Mallorca.
Mallorca is a great destination, fantastic destination. We are very lucky to have a great airport. We're very lucky that even we've just lost two great airline companies like Air Berlin and Monarch, we still have a great flight combinations from all over Europe. I mean, you can reach Mallorca with a 2-hour flight from practically anywhere in Europe. Our weather is good. I think we have 300 days a year that we are over 20 degrees. So that's fantastic to practice any kind of sport. Even you can go diving in winter. The sea, for us, is cold, but for anybody who comes from Northern Europe, it's lovely and warm. So we do need, and this is my war, we do need more venues. We are lacking football pitches, we're lacking pavilions, we're lacking a lot of infrastructure still. But I think we compensate with a great hotel offer. We have a great external offer like sports, sorry, how do you call it? Fun, you know, we have external offers, we have a lot of things you can do, you can visit, apart from the activity that you come to do. So yeah, I think Mallorca right now is on the map. We just need to better. We have a brand new Congress Hall that I think that's going to bring fantastic exhibitions and conferences. So I'm very, very positive that the future is going to get much better.
Yes, I completely agree with him. I think it's a great destination. I think in the summer there is an article in the newspaper saying that there were 146 connected cities in the summer. In the winter are less. But yes, I mean, we are very well connected. Talking about the center I work in here, Of course, our target markets are European countries. Of course, we receive visits from all over the world, you know, United States, Japan, Australia, everything, but our key markets, one of our key markets are Europe, and good connections. For instance, Germans, I don't know, 15 or 20 airports have direct connection. So I see many possibilities. Not talking about talking about what you mentioned about soccer. Yes, I agree. To have more soccer is very powerful in all over the world. So I think it's here there are many possibilities, you know. But well, I sell tennis, cycling, triathlon, paddle, and other sports. So it's you know, also you know, at the end, it's very well connected to our flights, mostly in many cities in Europe. So great, you know. Unfortunately, we had the case of you mentioned also Monarch and Air Berlin, but well, still receiving many flights, which I think will help, you know. It helps for the territory, you know.
I've got a question for Stefan. Fernando was saying before that he's seen events where sponsors would cheat on the results of the sponsorship by providing an agency which was friendly and giving the results they wanted. As a media expert, how can we make sure that we are measuring reality?
This is a difficult question. First of all, I think what he said before is absolutely right. There must be a link between the sponsor and maybe the sports club or the sportsman of its own. And because the reputation is very important for both sides. I will give you some example. In Germany, with Fissmann, the heating system constructor, and he invested a lot of money in winter sports, especially in skiing and other things, slope. A couple of years ago, this company started to construct their new heating systems in China. What happened with the reputation? Of course, German newspapers. A German big company, poor situation in China, children work, blah, blah, blah. Nothing of that was true, because I know the family very well. They have high registration in their companies. But the bad reputation of the sponsor has its effect also on the club of the sportsman of their own, negative. To calculate or to get maybe figures which are really near to the reality in a digital area, maybe you can try to implant in your platforms or in all your, well, of course, internet or other social media presentations, some backlinks in which you try to implant clever installations of what's your opinion about the sponsorship, how you think about this connection, and then you have two figures. How many people take part on that? And this is one figure, and the other one is a question of its own. So there's the subject, so the true answer, and therefore you have to find your own results. If the clicks, so we are talking about clicks, of course, if the clicks have the same plus maybe in your spendings, there is a good connection. If it makes sense in total, in the balance, okay, that's maybe a question. How is your own calculation? Nobody knows what's your entire calculation. That's your way of business. Juan?
You're falling asleep there.
Sorry, I was talking to someone else. Thank you. Someone else has a question? Eduardo, I knew that.
Hello, nice to meet you all. I have a question. Do you think that Mallorca is cursed to be a cycling island? I mean, what does a sponsor needs to go for a different sport other than cycling and put Mallorca on the map on a different sport? other than cycling? Thank you.
Sorry, is it okay? Go. I will answer in only one phrase. We try to do that for paragliding at the current moment, because you have some very nice spots here at Alcudia, for example, although in the west in the mountains, but it's very difficult because there are not so many starting spots, but Mallorca has a possibility. So we have to implant money, we have to invest, we do the marketing for all that, and maybe Mallorca could be also a good place for paragliding, especially for the German ones.
I would add tennis, triathlon, and soccer. I would add this. But again, it's like to promote the sport or to give a message or communicate or publicize the sport through media or through a celebrity that here you have excellent climate facilities, routes, I don't know, facilities to train, you know, could be a private facilities or public facilities, but also could be also the landscape, or I would say, you know, the mountains and so on. But I would say tennis, from my understanding, we have many German players that come here, and from Switzerland as well, and from UK that play here in different hotels in the area with tennis. So I think tennis, it's I'm not saying that because I'm working here, no, I'm saying that because it's the reality, you know. I mean, we have, and also triathlon, there is a lot of events, so the possibilities to do events. Now is Palma Marathon, October, there is a long course weekend. In Alcudia, there are so many activities on this, but I understand that, well, cycling is huge, you know, especially in the Alcudia and Palma areas is huge, you know. The 3-1-2 race, I think it's around 6,500 cyclists, you know, it's amazing. It's coming from all over the countries, European, Germans, Swiss, you know, so that's, but yeah, I mean, I think it's good to provide a wide offer of a sports, but we need to be prepared to give, you know, to supply this or to give the facilities to practice this sport, you know, so in my opinion. I don't know if
Thank you. Just a final question. Refer to cycling as well. Before I was chatting with some other colleagues here, and I, as a driver, not as using a bike, as a driver, sometimes I got fed up with the people on the bike because I feel that they do not respect first their lives, of course, and after that others. So I was wondering if eventually we will be facing here a problem in Mallorca with the insane amount of cyclists going all the way up to Formentor or whatever. I don't know, do you think this is, I mean, of course it's bringing money, okay, it's what matters. But do you think that is at some point this is going to be a problem? Because I'm aware that, I mean, every year people pass away. I mean, not 2 or 3 guys. People pass away here in Mallorca enjoying their trips, cycling trips. And Juaneda is packed with people like, Don, okay, with this kind of accidents. So do you think eventually it's going to be, you know, a problem and we should need to do something about it? You know, that's my question.
There is already a problem.
I can answer that. You believe in self-regulation.
No, but there's already a problem. I mean, the problem exists, is what we're just commenting here. And you just said we have fatalities every year on the road. The locals get very upset when we have all these cyclists on the road. Never say the British that they want to try and drive on the other side of the road. So we have a problem. I'm not an expert in cycling, but my recommendation was to regulate.
Damon, we've got someone here from Juaneda, and maybe he can answer about all these accidents
Absolutely.
with cyclists.
First of all, I'm Manuel Sarmiento. It's difficult to me to explain in English, but I try. I'm a doctor. it's very strange for me to be here with different people, not medicine meeting, and we Juaneda Sport Health is here in Rafa Nadal Academy too. We are working together. Juaneda Sport Health is to we have doctors, cardiologists, physiotherapeutics, nutritionists, a lot of kind of. I like to say health, sport or sport health, not medicine only, because it's a different word. It's health. It's not medicine, not at all. And the question I don't remember.
Sí, sobre los accidentes en bicicleta. Los ciclistas.
Yeah. I can't talk about Juaneda, but I'm a family doctor too, and I've worked in a hospital in Son Espases, in Santa Ponsa, for example, and we've been a lot of accidents. We've been a lot of kind of attention of the sports or people who do exercise, not sport. Sport is not the same than exercise. It's a lot of times you said sport, and one thing is activity, physical activity. One thing is exercise, and one thing is sport. And we talk always like a sport, but not all is sport. All the sports are exercises. All the exercises are physical activity, but not all the exercises are sport.
Damon, drinking beer is not sport.
It is. Look at my biceps. It's
Physical activity is to spend energy, moving the big muscles, and exercise is to plan this kind of activity. Physical activity is to plan, for example, to go to the bike, or go to walking, or walk to running, or swimming. And a sport, we have rules, and we have sometimes a competition to other people, or to own marks.
So ideas like Juaneda together with Rafa Nadal Academy, cross-marketing, this is something where you don't need to invest much money, but it's still kind of a sponsorship. Damon, any ideas about it?
Well, I'm a true believer in cross-marketing. I mean, one of the principles, especially in the sports industry, in the professional sports industry, is brand association. Xavi can tell you, or myself, or Fernando, that we work in professional football clubs. Local brands, national brands, they would like to have their brand associated to our brands. And we're happy to be associated with their brands, because their brands are going to invite other brands to come and work with us. So yeah, cross-marketing is fantastic, and I can relate to our work. Juaneda also has an agreement now with Real Mallorca. So we profit from Juaneda's brand, and Braneda profits from Real Mallorca brand. So why not bring it on? I mean, you can, if you cross-market, when you launch your product that you're going to do with the cross-branding, you're talking one expense instead of two. So the starting point is the investment is only once, not twice. So, and if you manage to get two recognizable brands, trustable brands, in this case, we say the Rafa Nadal Academy is already trust, quality, high performance. And say, for instance, if it's associated with Movistar, well, Movistar is a multinational, high performance, high technology, innovation, multinational, millions of customers. Obviously, it's a win-win situation. So I can only say thumbs up for cross-marketing.
That's what someone wants to add something to this. Any more questions, or are we all that tired? Okay.
How do you cross-promote a big company versus... Well, how do you cross-promote with a big company like yours versus
Closer.
a big company like yours
It doesn't bite. It doesn't bite.
versus a company like ours that are small? So do you still manage to do that, or I mean, are you expecting a cross-promotion that is one-on-one?
Let me a marketing structure, as again my colleagues can tell you. In a football club, I have to relate. Please excuse me to football because it's my 100% business. But in a football club, we have premium brands, we have golden brands, we have silver brands, we have bronze brands, and we have collaborators. We love them all. We love them all because 10 collaborators, you add the money they're going to invest in the club, makes one premium brand. So yes, but obviously we have to put them all in different categories. And the small brand will be very happy to be on the billboard with a big brand. Why not? We're going back to brand association. Then we can talk about positioning the brands. You pay more, you get a better position. But a small brand will be very happy to be able to be alongside the big brands. Absolutely. Sorry.
As he said, it depends on the level of the sponsors. Also, if it's an international brand, a global, like Barcelona or Madrid or Atletico de Madrid, they are big brands. And then it also depends on you. What are your market? Because if your market is local, you know, I mean, exactly, the big brands perhaps, you know, you can reach. So perhaps it depends. And then there, as he said, there are different. You know, that's main sponsor. There are different categories. Main sponsor, then it's official sponsor, then it's regional sponsor, then it's collaborator, then it's supplier. And then each one, it depends the investment you have, as far as I know, and it depends on also the assets you have, you know. But it's very important if you want to sponsor or if you want to associate with a property to understand what is your target market as a client, to say, what are my clients? So I need to, and also to select like a property that match your identity, or you know, I mean, or a property or an event could be also a property. So it depends, and also the investment. You know, I mean, as far as I know, these big brands is a big investment, but there are different levels. You know, and I think also there are big clubs like also they sponsor a region or a country, and then they have different assets, and they only can sponsor, or they can have the assets in the territory. They can do some, you know, I mean, it depends. There are so many variables on that, but I think it's very important that you choose what property, and then if you can you can fit and you can reach an agreement, you know. Sometimes they prefer also the big brands, they prefer to have many brands, or they have to be, it's like the 80-20, you know, I mean, small, not many brands, but you know, big investment on each one, you know, because if you have so many brands, then it's, you know, it's kind of, you know, too many brands, it's kind of, they are diluidos, I don't know. Devaluate, you know, I mean, but well, yes, there is possibilities. Always you have a possibility with events. Doesn't have to be a big club, or there are events that can reach your target. The important thing is who you are, your clients you want to reach, and then to associate with an event where they are, or where they consume.
Mira, ahora yo voy a, aunque esté de acuerdo con ellos dos en todo, Puedo hablar en primera persona porque ahora mismo estamos gestionando un club que está en segunda B, estamos hablando de fútbol, con lo que cuando antes buscabas grandes marcas que llegasen a millones de euros, ahora evidentemente se convierte en una liga que aun siendo profesional no está dentro de la liga el de fútbol profesional española, y tienes una comunicación, una repercusión muy a nivel provincial. Con lo que todas esas marcas que están ahora mismo asociándose a un club como el que gestionamos, es el Racing de Santander, estamos hablando de importes a los que cualquier marca que está aquí puede acceder. Como bien comentaba Xavi, lo importante es que sepas qué es lo que estás buscando con el patrocinio, o sea, dónde va a ser dirigida, o dónde quieres que tu marca esté. Evidentemente, si quieres estar en el pecho del Fútbol Club Barcelona, pues puede ser o Rakuten o Qatar, tal y cual, porque vas a llegar a todo el mundo, vas a matar a moscas con cañonazos, porque tienes una visión global, eso te cuesta 80 millones de euros o lo que sea. Y ahora mismo hay patrocinadores al nivel, evidentemente, de colaborador dentro de el Racing que pagan el 3.000 euros anuales. Y es que esas son las tarifas. O sea, no siempre que hablemos del deporte tenemos que hablar de los grandes clubes o los grandes eventos. Existe un deporte en el que a lo mejor a ti, como marca, te puede interesar participar porque va junto con tus valores, va orientado a la gente a la que tú quieres el llegar. Mira, ahora tengo yo muchísimas marcas que sin tener imagen, y cuando digo que no tienen imágenes, que no aparecen en el cuadro de colaboradores, que no aparecen en las vallas que tienen visibilidad en la U televisiva. O sea, tú no les ves como marca en ningún espacio, pero pagan un patrocinio o una colaboración con el club a base de poder hacer acciones con sus abonados. Esto es, por ejemplo, te hablo, una clínica dental quiere hacer una acción en Cantabria. Cantabria, tristemente, es una comunidad autónoma en la que sus equipos en ningún deporte está a un nivel muy profesional. El rugby tiene en división de honor, siendo el rugby en España, que estamos hablando de un deporte prácticamente minoritario, y lo más importante es el Racing. Tenemos 8.500 socios, que no está mal. Para esta marca, gastarse 3.000 o 5.000 euros en hacer una campaña hacia los socios a nivel de una newsletter o de una comunicación, va y que le vale más que hacer acciones de imagen, que se gastaría bastante más, y llega al público objetivo que ellos quieren. ¿Tienen un gran gasto? Pues el mismo gasto que tendrían haciendo una campaña en un periódico o haciendo una campaña en radio. Estamos hablando de importes bajos. Entonces, no siempre hay que fijarse en los grandes patrocinios, que tendemos a hablar de ellos, evidentemente, porque son los que tienen más repercusión, sino que después existen marcas que pueden colaborar con pequeños eventos, como antes hablamos, estaba Iván, que ya no está, o si no se ha tumbado en la silla, pues eso, pues un campeonato de pádel surf. Pues entiendo que ahora mismo, que no tiene una repercusión en medios aquí brutal, pero a lo mejor es el perfil de público que quieres buscar tú para tu marca, porque es al que quieres estar asociado, pues con pequeños importes o simplemente haciendo una colaboración hasta en especie, si le hace falta a la organización o le hace falta al club, se puede acudir. O sea, no hay que ver el patrocinio como qué bien lo hace Coca-Cola, que está en todos los lados. Hay millones de formas de colaborar con el deporte en el que al final tú saques un rendimiento, y el rendimiento que lo va a buscar esa marca, o tiene que tener unos objetivos claros. Oye, yo quiero hacer acciones de imagen, que dentro de 2 años llevo colaborando con el club, que la gente asocie mi imagen al club, o quiero hacer un descuento puntual para ganar 200 clientes. O sea, está todo el basado en la estrategia de las propias marcas.
And also, sponsorship is not only your brand on the billboard. You can do database, you can do public relation, networking, incentive, hospitality. So it's not only for the visibility. You can use a sponsorship for a lot of things. Also, if you are small or big, it depends what your goal. because you can meet people maybe for the government or for influencer in the same place, and you can talk. You can use a database of all the supporter. It depends. It depends your product, depends your brand, and which is your aim.
Just a quick one. Cycling again. We're talking professional now here. If we go into the amateur side of bringing a corporation tour with 100 members of staff of a company in Germany, and they come to Mallorca. I noticed the other day when I did this event with the bicycles, I went to the hotel up in Alcudia, and the garage, he had a garage about twice the size of this in the basement. The whole wall was a banner of a cycling company that makes cycles. A bicycle manufacturer, Italian, Big Manolo, I can't remember the brand now. And he sponsored to paint his brand on the four walls of this hotel. Obviously, he made a market research. He knows that this hotel receives 10,000 cyclists a year. He's put a shop. He's given a special price for his repairs, etc., etc. I asked the manager of the hotel, I said, being very cheeky, I said, how much money do you get for this, And he said, 6,000 euros. I said, and he paid for the painting. And he said, fantastic for me, 6,000 euros. It pays for my insurance, and it pays for my electricity, and it pays for my water. So it's a step forward in your business to reach break-even before the event or the party or the people that comes to you. It's a step forward to cut costs. So it happens also in amateur. I mean, if you are a travel agency that brings over, think about it. 3,000 people a year. It's 3,000 people. Maybe not the bicycle company, but maybe the helmet company or the protection company. There are resources, okay? They're not going to be $1 million sponsors, but maybe they'll give you 4,000 euros, 5,000 euros. They might give you some equipment that you can resell. I mean, it does happen in amateur sport also. You can access these companies. They will go for it. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. I think this was enough. I see lots of tired faces. Thank you for the whole panel. It's been a pleasure counting with you. We are going to have a second round for the people that couldn't see the installations and the museum yesterday. If someone wants to see it again or hasn't seen it yet, Nuria is organizing a second round starting now. So anyone that hasn't seen it or wants to see it again, go to reception, that's correct. If not, you can go to your rooms, rest for a while, and then 7:45, the bus will be departing for dinner in Palma, okay? Thank you very much to everyone.